Buckle up. Welcome to Musicians and Beyond with Sarabian and Lawhorn.
Or Lawhorn and Sarabian.
Or Lawhorn and Sarabian, if you go alphabetical order. Where we bring you the backstage info on the life, lyrics, and long journeys of the music industry. We're moving right along. We are on episode 58 today, which is fantastic. Our number 57 is Blowing Up.
Yeah, that's it. Great results from that interview. You know, it was a great conversation you had with her. I had to miss it, but the socials, the numbers are through the roof. Instagram, killing it. The Facebook, everything.
Yeah, that was Harmony Kelly of Kenny Chesney. And, Mark, did you see the message we got from the Instagram page, Welcome to the Sandbar?
Welcome to the Sandbar, one of my favorite Kenny Chesney groups out there. I follow them. I've been following them for years. They put out great information, great people, and I love to watch when they go to a show and I can't be there.
Even better, they're going to send us some swag. I don't know if you saw the message.
I did not see the message.
They're sending us some swag. So we want to thank Welcome to the Sandbar.
Yeah, you just got to watch that group, and when they go to a show, they have a great time.
Yeah, they know how to party.
They make you feel like you're there with them, and they fill you in on everything that's happening in the background. So
yeah, and those are all Kenny Chesney fans.
They certainly are. And one thing I'd like to get Kenny at some point, if the Sandbar can help out, he goes down to the Caribbean a lot. I'd like to get him over to our little island of Vieques and off the eastern coast of Puerto Rico. I think Kenny would like the vibe. I think people should learn about that place and go down and support the restaurants and the bars and the people who are working down in Vieques, Puerto Rico.
And today we have an incredible guest. It's I said to him before we started recording, I said, if you get Godsmack in Garth Brooks and put him in a shaker and shake him up and pour him out, you get the Derek Randall Band.
The Derek Randall Band.
Yeah, they're
great
like
conversation.
Rock and roll and country all together.
Yeah.
It's
like
almost
no one else.
It's almost like their own genre.
Yeah, like no one else. They've got some great music. The writing skills are off the charts, and they've got a whole persona about them that they gel really, really well, vibe really well together.
Yeah. Well, let's get Derek Randall on the horn, and we'll talk to him and see what he's got to say.
Let's get him on.
So here's Derek Randall.
As John likes to say, sign him up.
Sign him up. Hey, Derek Randall, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Dude, this is great. Thank you for coming on. I know that lately your schedule has been jam-packed.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got off our spring tour. It was a blast. We just dropped the album, got 500,000 streams already in a month. So all the support's coming out here, and just it's nonstop. I think we got CMA Fest was in a couple weeks here down in Nashville. So yeah, it just keeps moving, but that's a good problem, man. Staying busy.
It's a great problem to have. 500,000 streams. That is quite a milestone.
Yeah, I feel like it's more than I deserve, but I'll take it. I appreciate everybody that hits the play button. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can see why it got so much traction. I was on my way in here, and it's a beautiful New England day, 70-something degrees, and I had all my windows down. I was cranking up Light Up the Night.
Yeah, that's a summertime jam, man. That one's for. Originally wrote that one about I have these few friends, and sometimes, man, like on a Friday night, you call them up, there's nothing going on, and it ends up you hanging out with them till Sunday morning, and it's just one of those things. So yeah, and it's always in the summertime when stuff's going on.
Yeah, no, that's a great song. It's almost like you got Godsmack and Garth Brooks and put them in a shaker, shook them up and poured it out. It's you get quite a interesting sound.
Yeah. So growing up in Missouri, man, it's like I grew up listening to Garth Brooks. My dad was a big Garth Brooks fan and listening to his Double I. But my dad also was really big into the Scorpions. So I was listening to like Rock You Like a Hurricane, No One Like You. Those like just driving rock ballads. And then I got into I was in a rock band a long time ago. And then when I started writing songs a couple years ago that were more just me, it kind of hits the middle. Like, yeah, I got those rock vibes, but I got a little bit of country, and growing up in Missouri, man, that's just kind of how it is, man.
Yeah, it's almost like you created your own genre.
I don't know if I would say that, but hey, if someone else wants to say that, that's fine.
It kind of sounds like, high energy country, like you say in your bio, mixed up with rock and roll.
Yeah. I call it rock and roll with a country soul, man, because we do grip it and rip it. And I joke at the shows. I say we got two moods. We are either like turning it up, cranking and partying, or our ballads are about crying about what happened the next day. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah, and it looks like your
absolutely.
crowds, by watching the videos, looks like your crowds really are into it and they love what they hear. So
Yeah, it's starting to take off. The TikTok's starting doing good. The all the social media is cranking up. So it's amazing to me every show that we do. There's more people showing up that I look out and they're singing the words right back. I'll take my in-ears out and just listen to them. Man, it's beautiful,
yeah,
man.
that must be surreal having people sing the words to your
Oh,
song.
yeah. A lot of people don't. I don't know if other musicians feel like this or if it's just me. A lot of these songs are stories of my life. They're actually mine. And sometimes you write these songs and you're like, man, maybe I'm the only person that ever felt this. But then, you get there and you see all these people like really connect and they sing that song back to you. And you're like, man, I don't feel so alone. Like this is, for me, just as much as it is for the fans that come out. So, man, it's just been super special to hear everybody kind of singing them back to us, every night.
Yeah, I mean that's what music is about, anyways. You can go
Yeah.
anywhere in the whole wide world and play a song, and you can make them cry, you can make them laugh, you can make them dance.
Yeah, and I say that all the time that the reason I do this is for the connection. A concert is like one place where you can look around and you're standing next to somebody that you would never ever in a million years stand next to in any other part of your life. But at that moment, you guys are all one. Everybody's singing together, and that's one of the most beautiful things you can have in life, where you have all those thousands, or even if it's just a couple hundred people or 10 people. When everybody's one and singing that song, like that's life right there.
Yeah, that's really inspirational, really, that you're able to touch all those people and they touch you back basically by,
Absolutely.
by loving your music.
Absolutely, man. I can tell you right now, there's a couple times, like the first time that I could hear them singing louder and it came through the in-ears, man, I almost teared up a little bit, just because it was like, I can't even believe that this is happening. It was just, it means a lot.
Right. So the music industry is hard to break into. So, you started out and, you got a few people first. You got your family and your friends came and this and that. When did it start to take off for you? Because, like you said, one of your newly released songs just hit 500,000 listens.
Yeah, it's our album as a whole.
Oh,
so
the whole
it's
thing.
like, yeah, it's
Even better.
and I think it's just recently in the last few months we started pushing really, really hard on touring and getting everything going, and it feels like that momentum it starts going up. And I have a really, really great team down in Nashville with the label, and I have great distribution. It's like everything kind of slowly starts to pick up, and then you just blink, open your eyes, and then all of a sudden, all this stuff that you dreamed about years ago, when you first go to Nashville or wherever you go, all of a sudden it's there and it's happening, and you're just like, wow, all this hard work is going off. But to answer your question, I think it's just now. It's just now starting to happen, and we're loving it every minute.
Wonderful.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. The only thing I'm down about right now are my St. Louis Cardinals, man. I need them to pick it up a little bit this year.
We have another friend from St. Louis, a Cardinals fan. Have you talked about
I have not mentioned.
Jeff Batson from St. Louis? And he's a Nashville guy now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know him personally, but
He's big on the Cardinals and that area. So let's see. When was the last time the Red Sox ran into the Cardinals in a big game?
we don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about that. So my team, so my manager, the people, my label reps, they're from Boston.
Oh, no
and,
kidding.
Man, we get into it all the time. But he's a huge Bruins fan, so like, yeah, he has those World Series that you guys took from us. At least I got the last laugh for right now with the Blues a couple of years back.
Yeah, you get that one.
Christina, she's my PR person.
I get it. I'm sorry.
She's actually I'm gonna give Justin crap when I see him, but she's married to my manager and my label guy, Justin. Okay. They're both from Boston.
So describe to me, okay, you got a manager, you got Christine who does your PR, a label guy. What does that entail for people listening at home and wanting to know what the nomenclature is?
It depends on what level. So there's all kinds of different levels when you have labels. You have the big dogs, like Sony and Warner. where you have a whole team. And down in Nashville, you also have independent labels, and that's what I'm on, where you have other deals, and your whole goal is to just keep kind of like stepping up the ladder and doing leveling up. You start as like an independent artist. I'm just a singer-songwriter. And then the next thing, you might try to get a distribution deal or a publishing deal. And then independent labels, it depends on which one they are. They could be trying to do everything that a big label does. They could be like, well, we're just going to help you with content, or let's try to do what's called a JV deal and get you on a bigger label. But that's where they supply the money, but your team still does it. Luke Combs is someone who did that. There's a whole array of stuff, but essentially the label is basically the muscles behind what happens.
Okay.
Thank you for explaining that to our listeners. So you have a website. It's DerekRandallMusic.com, and you're also all over all kinds of social media.
Yeah. So we have DerekRandallMusic.com. That's where we keep everything pretty solid, pretty updated. There's links to the songs and the music videos and kind of the one sheeter, the background of like who I am, where I'm from, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I stay active on Facebook, Instagram. We're also on TikTok. That started doing really well for us. I have a Twitter, and someone just asked me, they're like, I watch for your tweets and you never tweet, because I never do. I'm like, do people want to hear what I say? But I guess I got to start firing that up. But any of the socials, it's at Derek Randall Music. We try to keep it real simple across the board. And we're always posting the videos from the shows, and especially the fan photos. Every time I get a fan photo, I'll put it up there, and I respond to every single message that we get, every single one. Cool. So
excellent.
I appreciate all the support that we get on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So for our listeners, you are listening to Musicians and Beyond with Sarabian and Lawhorn, or sometimes Lawhorn, Sarabian. It depends who's in the studio first.
It actually depends on who created the logo.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. And he tells me it's because of alphabetical reasons, but he's full of shit.
Well, we didn't want to do John and Mark, then no one would know who we were.
Anyways, we are talking with Derek Randall, and you can find all about him on DerekRandallMusic.com. And you get some great swag on there. You get some great shirts with some incredible logos. Yeah. We're going to have to get our hands on some of those, Mark.
I'm in.
So what else has been happening in your life? This whole thing is just really starting to take off. It must be surreal for you that, everything is happening.
Yeah. So coming up, like I said, going down to CMA Fest, a lot of stuff happening there, a lot of behind the scenes. A lot of people don't understand, like every time you release a song, that's 3 or 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months in the making before that, if you release a single. And even though we just released that album, like I said, it was about a month ago, and it's doing really well, we're already writing. We're already working on the next record. And I have calls later today about, certain producers that I want to work with on the rock side of the fence, because I do take pride in having that rock vibe and also the country vibe. And I don't want to say that I'm on one side or the other. I just want to be able to create a song and let that song stay true to whatever it is and during the creation process. So we're going to try to do a mix of that. I'm meeting with a lot of people as far as co-writes, which is new for me. Most of the time I just write my own stuff, but I hear a lot of great stories about getting with people, and it just gives you a different angle and a different approach. So I'm definitely all about that, trying to grow as a musician and an artist. So I'm really, really looking forward to that, meeting a lot of people. And then we got festival season coming up. I do a lot of stuff with veterans. So there's any of your listeners, if they're anywhere near Michigan, I do this thing called with Rock for Vets. I think there's going to be a golf outing. There's going to be we're in talks of doing like a float trip where we're going to go hang out with people and go on like floating down a river. And then we have the rock festival. So that's where we're going to be on, and they get some pretty big rock, and that's all rock. So, but they still accept us, even though we're a little country.
Yeah.
But
no, you definitely got the rock in there too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a lot of, even though if we don't have a show, there's 100 things a week to do to just progress towards that next release.
How long have you been in Nashville for?
Couple years off and on. So I live in Nashville and Michigan, and getting ready to be in Nashville all the time. Just is just starting to heat up so much. You just gotta keep doing it. You just gotta be there as much as you can. And I find myself there more than I'm back in Michigan. So kind of like any industry, you got to be where the movers and shakers are. Those other songwriters, all that stuff that I was talking about. You have to be at the hub. You have to be where it's going on. Back in the '80s when all the hair bands were kicking up, LA was the place,
yeah.
and you got Motley Crue coming out of there. You had those huge bands. New York, same way. You had some big bands coming up off the East Coast, man, and like Bon Jovi from up in your neck of the woods, Godsmack later down the road. I think it's easier to not be in those places because of social media. Like if you really want to, you can connect with people. But at the end of the day, that handshake, that being able to hang out with people, that's how you get the real relationships. And I think in country music, you kind of see that. You see these little circles. Like when you get into that circle, they all grow together. I mean, so in Luke Combs, Jameson Rogers, that little circle grew. You have Morgan Wallen with Hardy and Ernest. They're all buddies. And one buddy helps another buddy, you co-write on this, and it's because they're together, So I think being there, being present is a big thing.
All right. So who's part of your nucleus, those buddies that you're writing with and working with? Who do you got out there right now?
I have some buddies that they're actually, there's one of my buddies. I haven't written with him yet, but I want to. His name's Chris Rudiger. He's from up in Boston. You guys know Rudy?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So he does the 615 house. I try to pick his brain. For as young as he is, man, he's a smart dude, man. He's got so much stuff going for him. Chris Moreno, another person from up in your area. Yep. Then you got Liz Coulter. I know her from up in your area. I was gonna write with her earlier, but her schedule changed last time I was in Nashville. So hopefully next time I'm down, we can square that out. And then there's some other ones like Graham Barnum. I've been looking forward to me sitting down with him and writing, and hopefully we get that circle going and everybody gets fired up.
Now, how's that circle begin? You're out, you're at a show, or you playing somewhere and someone says something to you or someone else is playing and you step up to them and you just find out you have a lot in common and you get a vibe with each other?
I think it's just mutual connections. You get introduced to people. I met Rudy because of Justin and Christina, and then met a lot of those other people because they're all from Boston, so they all know each other. They all rooting for the Sox. I think it's more or less if you once you meet them, and then if you vibe, you vibe. If you don't, you don't. Mm-hmm. One of our rock songs on there, we recorded at Jelly Roll Studio with his producer because he was a friend of the couple guys in my band used to tour with him. When he was playing in a band called Nine Shrines, the producer for Jelly Roll. So, it's just kind of those little interconnections like, hey, and then I think it's also about timing. You might meet someone and then, hit it off. But if they're not in a place where they want to do it right, you just got to try to hopefully life works out and you guys are in the same spot and it can happen. Or you can try to seek people out, but it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to nail someone down. It's kind of happen organically.
And you had mentioned your band, and you have quite an incredible band behind you.
Yeah, man. I'll say it till I die, man. I got the best band in the world. These boys are loyal. A lot of people in Nashville do hired guns, and for me, I just can't do it, man. These are my boys. This is my family. We've got a really crazy background. Everybody's a little bit different, and I love that. I think that helps meld even more into what we do. My lead guitar player, he's more of she's like driving a Ferrari in a parade, man. He does way more than what I need him to do. We always have to dial him back, but when we're playing live, he just man, he owns it. It's like having Slash in your band or something, man. It's just amazing. And then my drummer is a former metal drummer. Just he can do crazy things on the drums. I have Mikey, who's your prototypical bass player. He's just a wild man on stage. We don't need him to do much on bass, man. He just sits in the pocket. But when you see him live, he's shotgunning beers, jumping up and down off of the light boxes, that kind of stuff. And then Jesse, my rhythm guitar player, he's a great songwriter by himself, man. He's got his own vibe. And man, when we're all together, we get into a little bit of trouble. I can tell you that for sure. But just all of that together, man, it helps make like our sound and our vibe. And sometimes when I write a song, it will come out and I'll be like, well, I like how it started, but they all put their little piece in it, and that's what makes it what it is. So even though I'm a solo artist as Derek Randall, I wouldn't be this without them, for sure.
How did the band come together? Was it an evolution? One person came, another left, and then you ended up where you are. And at what point did you know, all right, this is the group? This is
yeah. I can tell you that for sure. This is so when I first started writing these songs, I have a buddy named Joe Bazzelli down in Nashville. He's a great songwriter. He went to high school with me back in Missouri, and I started writing a few songs. I was in a rock band a long time ago. And then when I started writing these songs, I sent them to him. He's like, hey, you should come down. And Jonesy was in that, my lead guitar player was in that rock band. So I started, I talked him into like, hey, we should do this again. He was like, I don't know, man. Didn't turn out well for us last time. I'm like, let's just for fun. And me and him on the road, we like going hitting White Castles and Waffle Houses, all the stuff that's not good for you. So I was like, come on, we'll go to Nashville, we'll hit a Waffle House, it'll be fun. So he comes down there. We end up doing some demos. Some people started liking, so like, all right, we can do this a little bit more. And then I had a buddy, Jesse, who that's the rhythm guitar player. He came along, and then we started, okay, let's finish this out. Let's do this. And then Dustin, we had a drummer, not like an original drummer, but he ended up not working out. It just where he left the band, like before we even got started, it was like the week before we were filming the video for the first release. And we were like, man, who do we know? And we were like, Dustin. And I was like, well, he's a metal drummer. Do you think he would even want to do this? And well, he's about as country as it gets. So he was like, I'll do it just for fun. I'll help fill in till you find someone else. And he's been with us ever since, man. He's amazing. He loves it. He actually has lots of fun. And that was just like kind of happenstance. And we had a different bass player, again, kind of the same thing. We had someone just doing it. And, I think part of being in a band is everybody does have to vibe. Everybody has to, it's a family. It's not about the 1 hour that you're on stage. Anybody can get through that. It's about the other 23 hours that you're with those guys, man. You really got to vibe. And the guy that was playing with us, it wasn't that he's a bad guy. He's not a bad musician. He didn't fit real well. And this punk rock guy, Mikey, was friends of Dustin, was like, man, if you never need a bass player. So I was like, you know what? I met him a couple times. He was really nice. We brought him on, and he's phenomenal. I wouldn't change a thing, man. And we've been playing with him for almost 2 years now, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, I feel like we've hit the family. We've hit the peak. I love every single one of these guys, and every time we go out on the road, it's a blast. And I think when the fans see them and they interact, I think they can tell it's a family. It's a unit.
Now, what's it like touring? What size van or bus, or what are you guys touring around in now?
It depends on the tour. Yeah. Buses are expensive, man. So if we're playing smaller clubs, we try to steer clear of that. Buses are about $1,500 a day. Yeah. So we go from with RVs or a bus. Sometimes if it's smaller local show, we'll do like an RV. But as far as what touring's like, it's like being on the road with a bunch of grown children. You know what I mean? Like when we stop at a gas station, like on the way to somewhere, it's like someone gave a kid $100 bill and we walk out with all this stuff that's terrible for you, like taquitos and hot dogs and that kind of crap. Yeah. And it's terrible. Usually we have to detox afterwards.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just because of all the crap that we're just eating on the road. Yeah.
Well, I'm heading out Thursday to the Indy 500. I'm a Steak and Shake guy, so I can't wait to get there and get into a Steak and Shake at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh man, yeah. There's certain places that we're not allowed to stop anymore because of the boys. I got some big boys in my van too, man. White Castles is off limits. Like, we won't stop at a White Castles anymore. That's a no. No buffalo wings for Jesse. That's also a no. It's more for everyone else.
Especially on a smaller bus. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. I was watching a TikTok. You mentioned it earlier, and a buddy of ours, Cody Webb, was doing a TikTok live. They were in a transit van. The band's sitting behind him playing, and he's on the dashboard beating away. And I'm like, "You're driving. Pay some attention to the road in front of you."
Yeah, I know Cody.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You guys know Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love his song Jumbo. Man, that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is that's a jam. I root for him. He's such a good guy.
He,
Man, him and his family.
yeah.
If
Very
there was
good.
one guy that I could be like, if you could press fast forward, because they're, you meet him and he's just so genuine. All of his songs, man, I would put my vote in, like, I don't know, like have him make it, because he's
Very
phenomenal.
positive kid, and he's got it going on. He's got a lot of good stuff happening, and we're happy for him. We were down at the Bluebird. He was part of an in the round with two friends of ours, Eric Haynes and Jeff Batson, and he was one of the guys sitting in, and we got to listen to him, get to know him then, and then we just started following him and touching base with him and seeing him. I saw him at the music room. I went down to Charleston to see him down there when he was playing. So he's a really, really cool guy. And a past guest of ours, Kirsty Kraus, was in the video, in his Truckload of Trouble video that they shot. And so I thought that was a pretty small world, and it just keeps getting smaller.
Yeah, I know Kirsty as well.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in my Light the Night Up video.
Oh, you're kidding.
No kidding.
If you watch that, she's in there. Yeah, she's jamming. I mean, yeah, it's like everybody's interconnected, and especially a couple of years ago when everybody was real finicky, like with COVID, like nobody wanted to do anything because nobody wanted to be canceled for doing something. Right. But as musicians, you gotta do something.
Absolutely.
So the music videos, you couldn't do these big crowds. You could do like 10, 15 people, and you had to make the angles look like there was more people. And she was an acquaintance through somebody else, and she came out and she was amazing. And I got to meet her then, and yeah, she's a great artist too, man.
Yeah, and she's a great girl, great artist.
Great personality, another very positive person, always looking forward, and got to appreciate that.
Yeah.
The drive you guys have is like nothing else. To be a musician out there trying to make it in your way and expand your horizons and get out there in front of the work that you have to put in is just incredible. Yeah,
it's you kind of got to be a glutton for punishment a little bit. Out there on the road, you put all these hours in, and I don't think it starts that way. I don't know if it starts that way for other musicians. When I very first started, it was I started in a rock band a long time ago, and we didn't even want to be a band. It was just let's hang out and do something. And then we started writing some songs, and I had a buddy that was like, "Hey, why don't you do a show?" And I'm like, "Oh, all right, I guess." So he did this thing called Barn Fest at his house, and then we did this show. There was tiki torches everywhere, and I'm such a hillbilly. I was in these blue swim trunks and a red flannel shirt, just hanging out, and we played, I don't know, like 10 songs, and it was all rock. So we're doing like Breaking Benjamin covers, Shinedown covers. We had like 2 of our own, and that was it. It was like 35, 40 minutes or something. And they were like, "Play it again." We're like, "We don't have anything else." They're like, "Just play the same thing again." I go, "Okay." And then people were like, "Hey, well, where can we get this?" So you're like, I don't know. I guess we'll go make a CD. And then it just kind of snowballs into, all of a sudden now you're in Nashville and you're trying to figure out how to put a tour together. And, it's a lot of work. It's not just show up and sing these songs. There's a lot of effort that goes into it. And it's not just by the person singing the song, it's the whole team. There's it's your family, it's your friends, it's everybody that hits play, everybody that shares. And it's amazing when it starts to get to this level, man. It really is.
Yeah, congratulations for getting where you are. You've done really well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have a lot of songs under your belt that you've written, and we're going to play one of them right now for our listeners and for your fans. Okay. Out of all the songs you've written, which one is your favorite? And then after we play it for our listeners, we're going to have you tell us a little bit about the writing process of that song and what inspired you to write it.
Okay. My favorite song, is there so some of my songs are explicit. Does that matter here?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
I was
All right. Yeah. So my favorite song that I wrote, just because it means the most to me, I don't know if it means to everybody else, as far as written, would have to be Favorite Monster. My favorite one to play live is Coming Back for You because of the fan response. But I think Favorite Monster is is my favorite song that I've ever written.
All
for sure.
righty. So here is Derek Randall, and this is Favorite Monster.
Press you to my lips and I pull the trigger. That feeling that you give is all I live for. I used to run from the light, keep my feelings locked inside, but you caged all the demons that were running in my mind. You're my favorite monster, I can't get enough of. You lead me to the darkest place, tell me it'll be okay to hide out while my bridges burn down. The only thing I need is you, 'cause you've become the monster that I chose. All the walls that are in my way are all the walls that I created. You tear them down in a fucking rage without saying a goddamn thing. They tell me that I should go straight to me, everything is gonna be okay, but I don't wanna be okay if it means that you ain't here with me. You're my favorite monster, I can't get enough of. You lead me to the darkest place, tell me it'll be okay to hide out while my bridges burn down. The only thing I need is you, 'cause you've become the monster that I chose. My favorite monster, I can't get enough of. You lead me to the darkest place, tell me it'll be okay to hide out while my bridges burn. The only thing I need is you, 'cause you've become the monster that I chose. I need is you, 'cause you've become the monster that I chose. The monster that I chose.
That was Derek Randall with Favorite Monster. Derek,
You
can you
bet
tell
on
us a
your
little bit
favorite
about
player?
that song, what inspired you, and how you came up with the lyrics and so forth for that song?
Yeah, so that song is I wrote that in about 15 minutes, and I wish all of them had happened like that, where you just say they just just like it falls out of you onto the paper. And I think being a musician, as we've talked about, kind of like all this stuff and everything that goes into it, it's a hard life. It's a really hard life. There's a lot of people telling you, even though that there's people in your corner cheering you on, there's a lot of people, especially I think some of the biggest voices that you hear are your subconscious of just telling you like, hey man, it'd be way easier just to get a real job and just, just do that corporate life, that kind of thing. But every now and then, everybody has something in their life that they find that they just can't live without. And it takes like a moment for that, switch to flip to say, you know what? I don't care what everybody thinks anymore. I'm not going to listen to that in the back of my mind anymore. I'm just going to, whatever happens, happens, but I'm not living without whatever that is anymore. And that's the monster of it, like that's in your head. And that's hopefully I try to write my lyrics very metaphorically and very open so that other people can put their stories into it. And it's not so specific. But for this one particularly, it absolutely was about being a musician. And no matter what, even if the world burned down around me, I will still be singing a song to my last breath and trying to find that connection that we were talking about with other people. Because that to me is the purest form of joy in this world, man.
Absolutely. And you said that most of your songs are either about a personal experience or something that affects you. Yes,
100%. All the songs that we have are they're pretty emotional, man. One where they're either highs or lows, or we have one song called Blackberry Crow. It was written by Jesse, my guitar player, and it's about remembering the people that aren't here anymore, and we actually had an argument in rehearsals one day, because I see that as a happy, like if you listen to it, it's a little bit more upbeat. I think it's got a good vibe, and you're remembering the people, that aren't here anymore. You're trying to let them live through you. And the guys were like, no, that's kind of a sad song. I'm like, well, it depends. I mean, yeah, those, it's sad but it's also part of life. And, part of being alive is knowing that it's not forever. And that's beautiful, man, because now this is everything. This is special, like every breath, So I think, every song that we have, if you really dive into it, it's an emotional journey, whether it's high or low or just kind of sitting back and just relishing life as itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's a quick one. Have you ever had anyone reach out to you, whether a fan or someone else, and say, hey, listen, I got these lyrics, take a look at this. And you've said, hey, I want to write with that guy or that I can do something with this. And has that ever come across?
It happens all the time, honestly.
No kidding.
People will shoot me DMs, and I will. If someone messages me, I respond, every single one, whether it's a comment or whether it's if they shoot me a message, through Instagram, Facebook, whatever, I'll respond. And I've had people send me, hey, I don't know how to do music, but they send me lyrics, and I tell them, I say, I'll read through them and I say, hey, that's really great, but I always say that it's your story. You got to figure out how to tell your story.
Yep.
It's the writing with other people is still new to me. I don't know if I'll ever get to the point to where I can, like some artists just play other people's songs. I don't know if personally I can do that, because singing these songs is a very personal thing to me. And part of the connection that I get with people is because that's my life. It's my stories. So even when if I start writing with these other folks, it'll still be my stories, but other people will help share and help tell those stories. Yeah. So I try to, as much as I can, have those other people, if they want to get into songwriting, do it. Get a guitar, get a piano, get something that just makes noise, and do something, man. And it that's how it starts. They say you got to, put 10,000 hours into something before you get real good at it. So you don't start at the 10,000, you start at 1.
Yeah.
So talking about, you got to start somewhere. Is it true that you got started in your mother's old station wagon when she had some Garth Brooks playing?
Yeah. Garth Brooks, Jim Croce, man, you name it, man. I remember, I think it goes back even farther than that. My dad has a picture of me when I was like 2-3 years old and some tighty whities and a little guitar running around. But the earliest memory that I have of actually singing songs, my mom used to take us to a public pool. And, back then, before you had car seats and stuff, we're like sliding around in the back seat as she's taking turns just singing these songs with her. And like it would be Garth Brooks, you'd be singing Thunder Rolls or Calling Baton Rouge. Or even if she started playing some stuff from when she was a kid, we'd be listening to like Photographs and Memories, Jim Croce, stuff like that. But then both my parents really love Van Halen, so we'd be screaming that too, like as we're sliding around the back seat. But yeah, it was always singing. It was always singing from a very young age. Never really back then having dreams of doing anything like this. This was just like a happy accident, but absolutely, music's been a part of my life since I was a real little kid.
And at what point in your life did you know that you wanted to do this for your life?
So back to that rock band that I was in, that was just buddies. And like I said, it snowballed all the way up into like making an album and doing stuff. And we ended up selling out a 1,500 cap place down in St. Louis, place called Pops. We love it. It was an amazing place if you ever go there. Great venue. And at that point, it kind of clicked like, hey, people kind of like what we're doing, man. I feel like we're helping people. And it was not necessarily like, look at me, but it's the connection that you get afterwards when you're shaking hands and someone's like, man, that really helped me. Like I went through this and that song, I was playing that song, or you see those people screaming those words or on the songs that are a little bit more emotional, you see them crying, or you're connecting with people, and that's what it's about, just connecting with people and whatever it is. Even baseball can be beautiful and give you moments of connection. Like I'll never forget, as a Cardinals fan, growing up with my dad, watching Cardinals, listening to Jack Buck, that kind of stuff. There's certain moments that you just remember forever. And for me, I went to the last game at Old Busch Stadium and the first one with my father at the newest one. And moments like that, I hope we create for people that when they come to our shows, those moments that they remember for years and years down the road.
Is there one venue along the road that you have your favorite venue to play in?
I got a couple, and these are friends of mine, so I gotta be careful with what I say here.
It's a little unfair to ask the question, but for us, we ask it so that our audience and us can go out and experience the places the artists say, you got to see a show here, or you got to go here, and this is what I felt when I was up there.
Okay, I'll give you three. I'll answer that with three, just so I can cover my bases. I think if you're in Nashville and you want to see some singer-songwriter stuff, I think there's a little bar called The Local that we played at, and you go in there and it's just like an acoustic vibe, and you're going to see people that wrote songs that went triple platinum. And then right next to them is going to be the songwriter that just came into town 2 weeks ago.
I love that.
Like it's a great vibe, and it's just amazing, like at that level. As far as my favorite little rock club to play, there's a place in Battle Creek, Michigan called the Music Factory. And it is outside. When you pull up on the outside, it just looks like it's a barn or just some like building, like a commercial building. But when you go inside, it just has the aura of a rock venue. And every band that plays there signs the walls with chalk. They know you by name. They have banners hanging out. And then the sound is amazing. Every time we play there, the fans show up and scream the lyrics to the songs. And, that probably helps me like it every time when the fans keep showing up. But that was amazing. But we also recently played a place that just started doing music. It's a smaller club up in Traverse City called Encore 201. There's a barbecue joint right underneath it. And the venue owner himself just loves music so much. He does it in a town where there's really not a lot of venues up there. And we go up there and, it fits 120, 30 people somewhere in there. And he had it to the brim, turning people away. But the vibe, the lights go out over the main street. It's a smaller town, but there's lights that come out of the window. You can hear the music outside. You can smell the barbecue from downstairs. It's just like that small club, just really intimate feel. And it's really cool. It's a really cool club. If you're ever in Traverse City, definitely go there, not just for the club, but there's a barbecue joint, Sparks Barbecue downstairs. It's really good too. And that's pretty cool.
Excellent.
Have you shared the stage with any bigger, well-known names?
Yes. So when I was in a rock band, that one back in the day, we played with, I'm sure you guys have heard of Shinedown and Seether. We played a show with Hailstorm, Saliva. As Derek Randall, we've played with the newer version of Saliva, Saving Abel, We got one coming up that's with Adelita's Way, Ava Under Fire. They're pretty big coming out of Michigan. They just went national. They just got off like a European thing with Skillet. We're starting to grow, and hopefully we'll add some few more names to that list. I'm trying to get Cody to come up here to Michigan, and then I'll go down to South Carolina and we do a little run together. We're hopefully we'll make that happen soon.
Fantastic. And then to piggyback off of that question, who would you like to play with?
Oh shoot, man. I think Hardy is a dream. I love that guy. I think he's helping like guys like myself that do a little bit of rock and country. Him and Jelly Roll, where they both had songs on the charts on rock and country at the same time, man. You want to talk about like something to aspire to, just to even be mentioned anywhere with them and anything, I would die a happy man. But those guys would be amazing. Brantley Gilbert, Shine Down Again. I would love to do something like that. Godsmack would be amazing. I think it's really cool when you do a little bit of cross genre stuff, especially with us. I kind of say like we're like the gateway drug either way. Like if you like rock, we might get you into a little bit of country. If you like country, we might get you into a little rock. So I think we could go either way, and I really like when if we can get onto shows with some bigger rock artists or country artists, because we're gonna show people a world that they might not normally see.
So that's something that we could both agree on, Mark, because I'm a little bit rock and roll, Mark's a little country, and we kind of compare ourselves to Donnie and Marie. And
yeah,
that would be Marie, of course. But,
the better looking one, obviously.
Yeah. But I mean that's cool.
I do like that. Yeah. Who else who would you compare your band to that's out there right now that has gotten to a level that you like to think that's kind of, we got the same vibe going?
Ooh, that's tough, because although the guys that I just talked about, they have stuff in both. Hardy is predominantly a country guy that does a little bit of rock and roll, and he's written a ton of hits that are just straight. He's written a bunch for Morgan. And then you have Jelly Roll, when he releases it, it's all a country album or all a rock album.
Right.
There's not too many people. I can't think of one off the top of my head that do it just like us. Yeah. Because we don't separate the two. We just
kind of
throw it out there. Yeah. And some people really like that and they gravitate towards it and they're like, yeah, cool, which we love. But there's a lot of people still in the industry that are like, pick a lane, pick one or the other. And I'm at the point, like we just said, like, I don't care. This is what it is. This is who I am, man. I hope you love it. But
you do you.
Exactly. This is who I am. And but I would have to say it would have to be Jelly Roll, Hardy, something like that. I think Brantley Gilbert's pretty close. Yeah. He's still more on the countryside, but he's a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah.
I'd say he's still a little bit rock and roll.
What a story Jelly Roll has, huh?
Oh man. Man, him and his wife, man, they're amazing. Like if you start looking at it, he was just talking about how he was living in a van and she was a high-end escort out in Vegas, and they met each other, bet on each other, and they just were like, it's us against the world, let's make this happen. And then seeing what he's doing now, man, and he's not your prototypical guy, man. When you see him, and like Nashville, it's all about, you see most of the artists that come out of there, they look like they should be, almost models or something. Right. And to have Jelly Roll break that scene and do what he did as an independent before he started getting this, man, that gives guys like me a little bit of hope, man. Yeah. And I appreciate everything he does, even though it's indirect, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's battled hard to get where he is, and he's fought a lot of demons to get where he is, and
absolutely,
it's great to see someone get over that and have the success that he's finding. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he's open with all that, and I think a lot of people are relating to like what he's doing. The first video I saw of him was, he was already pretty big. He did a lot of hip hop, but that song that he did, Save Me. Yeah. When I saw the video of that, I was like, wow. For me to connect with some music, it has to be real, like authentic. Like I can connect with it. And that song, I was like, I get you. I understand you. And I am 100% behind you. From the moment that I heard him sing that song and I saw that video, it was just, I'm a huge fan. And then it was like a year later that I was recording at his house on Music Row. And it was just kind of like one of those weird full circle things. And I was like, man, I never got to meet him, but it was still cool just being in that house after seeing that video. And it's like one of those moments where you're like, wow, it's funny how the world works. And
it sure is.
Cool. Just a fun fact in the bathroom in there, he's got a neon jelly donut sign in the window in the bathroom. I thought that was pretty fun.
Love it.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool.
Before we thank you, we forgot. There's one question that I always like to ask, and one of us gets it out at some point or another.
Sure.
You've gone through a lot on the road to get where you are. What is the one most important lesson that you've learned that another musician coming up should hear? Another artist should learn from something that you've gone through and know that, there's a chance that you can get over whatever that hurdle was or whatever the lesson was, positive or negative.
I think it is, if you truly believe in your heart that this is what you're supposed to do, never give up and don't stop. After the rock band that I was in broke up, man, I was jaded for a lot of years. It took me a while to touch a guitar again. And as soon as I did, everything fired right back up. And if I wasn't so stubborn and if I could get out of my own way, because in my heart, I still knew it. I still believed that music was my path in life. And no matter what happens, stay true to yourself, stay positive, and just don't give up. It doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, you got to
before you find it, right?
10,000 hours.
Yeah.
You got to do it, man. You got to put in the work, and you got to just keep doing it and love what you do, whether you play in front of 5 people or 5,000, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just know that you're helping people. Even if you help one, everybody says it, but if you help one person, man, that's the world. You could be making a difference that you don't even know.
Amen.
So just keep trying to bring joy to the world and being true to yourself, man.
Those are some great words of wisdom from someone that's been through the whole gamut.
Yeah. We appreciate that, and hopefully our audience learns from that, and you've probably inspired someone through this conversation, and you've probably helped someone keep on that leg of the journey, so we thank you for that. I'm sure they thank you for that.
Yeah, and we want to thank you in general. Again, we're talking to Derek Randall, so you can go to DerekRandallMusic.com, buy some swag, download some music, find out where he's going to be playing, follow him, and support him. We're going to see some big things. And I know, like we talked earlier, you are super duper busy, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Did you say super duper?
I did say super duper.
You guys being Boston guys, I'm surprised you didn't say wicked.
Yeah,
wicked.
You're wicked busy.
It's part of his lexicon. It's there.
We Derek, we want a wicked thank you for coming on. And
now, Derek, as we fade out here, what's one song you want to leave the audience with that we can play as we move along here?
I think coming back for you, because, hey, man, I'm always going to keep coming back. You know what I mean?
All right, there's Derek Randall with Coming Back for You. We want to thank you for being on with us. We're going to let this song take us out.
And we want to thank you for being our friend.
There we go.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Derek.
Yep.
I need to open my eyes to medicating with these strings, 'cause there is nothing like satisfying all your selfish needs. I know you wouldn't understand. I know this wasn't gonna last. I close my eyes so I don't see the fucked up things you do to me. I need to know this isn't like before. Right from the start, you were tearing me apart. Whoa, whoa, I'm coming back for you. Whoa, whoa, I'm coming back for you. Are you satisfied ripping out my heart before you leave? 'Cause there is nothing like opening these skies you gave to me. I know you're never gonna learn. I know that this is gonna hurt. You're stuck in